Hi. You speak English, right? Well, so do 1.348 billion other people, says Wikipedia. But it's not uncommon to point out the flaws of the English language. It's kind of weird, right? Check this out. This word is pronounced through, but then this word is pronounced though. This one is cough, and this one is enough. And there's also this one, which is a British way to spell hiccup or something that people only use this when they're talking about how weird English spelling is. So, come on, lay off. And, yeah, that makes English harder to learn for people who don't speak it as a first language. But so does Japanese's kanji, or French's liaisons, or Chinese's entire writing system in various dialects, or Finish's vowel harmony, or Arabic's abjad and word derivation system, or Russian's cases, or Korean's particles and honorifics, or Spanish. But I'm not talking about English being harder to learn. All languages are hard to learn, except maybe Toki Pona, and every natural language in existence is going to have some strange aspect about it that's due to the fact that it arose over time and evolved to meet the needs of its speakers. Language is the product of time and culture, and that's why English's spelling is so weird. It's in part because English is pretty much entirely comprised of Romance loanwords in formal speech, and also because of the Great Vowel Shift, which, in short, was a big meme that broke English spelling because of sound shifts. And yet we still have dental fricatives. No, I'm talking about English being flat out weird, and most of it's just normal to native speakers. Sitting down and questioning it hurts your brain too much. My favorite fun fact to tell people about this is the one about minimal pairs, because they always tell me I'm wrong. So, a minimal pair is a pair of two words that are distinguished only by the difference of one phoneme, a phoneme being the smallest unit of a word. Minimal pairs are basically used to resolve possible allophony in a language, to prove that two sounds do actually have meaningful differences and aren't just recognized as the same sound by speakers of the language. Like je and j by English speakers in garage versus garage. Phonemes are sounds like b, p, th, sh, And honestly, those were pretty bad sounds for me to pick, because it's just gonna reveal that I don't have a pop filter. Pa 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 pa, pa 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 pa, ba 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 ba, pa 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 pa. Sa. So, a minimal pair for the phonemes p and b in English are the words pat and bat. They are distinguished only by whether it has a p or a b at the beginning. But English, that weirdo, has no minimal pair for h and ng, which means that it can be argued that they're technically allophones of the same phoneme. If this were true, I'd have to sing hello and ngarp on about my new ngat. Actually, can you help me? I need to have this sort of ngap-ngazard habitat for my hermit crab. And hey, I bet you still understood me. So they must be allophones, right? They're the same phoneme! Here, let me see you a saw about it. I'm actually a really good seer if you— No, obviously they're not allophones. They sound too different, there's no word where they're used in free variation. But it's weird that those two sounds don't have a minimal pair, with all the words in the English language. The main reasoning for this is that ng is an allowed word initially, and it's rare to see a syllable final h. Since they appear in different places in words, there's no instance of them being the only difference between words. It's weird, isn't it? But English's phonology gets even weirder. You ever think about that sound we have? Ever notice that most other languages on the planet have something like r or r? French, what you doing there, Brian? It has so much variation across dialects, and even the way it's described in general American is like r and alveolar approximate. But it's almost always labialized like r, and it's usually retroflex, so it's a little further back in the mouth, r, and put both of those together, and that's how I say it, r. Radio, rank, rap god, rapidly deteriorating mental state. But some people say it like a tap or a trill, like in Scotland, Ireland, India, and New Zealand. And then there's the R-colored vowels that we have in American English. Stuff like hurt, girl, and verb. In received pronunciation, they're more like hurt, girl, and verb. It's one of the most distinctive characteristics of British English to most Americans.
Oh, I just found out that Americans call a flicky willy donker a fucking light switch, mate.
So that rhotic is weird, but what about dental fricatives? I mentioned those earlier. They're the sounds represented by the digraph th, and the. They're pretty rare sounds around the world, and even only a few English dialects have them. It's pretty common to hear them omitted entirely without people even noticing, replaced by dental stops or labiodental fricatives. The former is audible in instances of what's that or I thought. Notice that they're not quite alveolar. That would be dat and tot. Tot. Hear the difference? The latter is found when th is replaced with f and turns 3 and free into homophones. What's that? I thought. Even there we see another of English's oddities. There's so much regional variation. Honestly, it's really cool to see how many different ways people can speak one language. But that's only the phonology. You ever think about verbs? People think Spanish verb conjugation is hard when they take it in high school, but that's because they think English doesn't have it. It does, it's just really weird. Compared to the Romance languages, English verbs carry way less information with them. There's only 2 conjugations in the present tense for most verbs. Third person singular and everything else. He, she, VZ runs, but I run, you run, we run, and they run. That's excluding when they is used as a third-person singular pronoun. It retains its usual conjugations when used as an epicene or neuter pronoun. But then the copula also has a first-person singular conjugation for some weird reason. I am as opposed to I are. And the copula is also the only past tense verb with a person distinction. Was versus were. Everything else just has the one. Plus, English has no true future tense. We just have will and shall, but no one uses shall, and will is just an auxiliary, like have. Spanish has estaré, which is a future tense first person form of the word estar. Why doesn't English have that? We have talk and talked to make past tense, so why don't we have, I don't know, talk'll... Well, we don't. We'll talk. That's weird. English has two different passive voices, passive of being and passive of becoming. Lots of dialects of English don't even use the passive of becoming. It's pretty rare cross-linguistically. Oh, that's the difference between to be squished and to get squished. You are squished or you become squished, aka get squished. Most languages just have to be squished and get along perfectly fine without the other one. That's weird. English uses an entire auxiliary verb just to express the negative. Why not just say I not run? We do that with the copula and he is not real, so why not with verbs? Why do we need that do? Hell, why do we need it in questions like I've just used in the past 2 sentences? Or hell, why don't we have an entire negative verb form? It's weird. English has a bunch of strange stuff going on with it. It honestly pains me that it became the international language rather than, like, Mandarin. Well, that has tones, and those are pretty hard for people who don't already speak a tonal language. Well, then French. I mean, it was super close to doing that already. Wait. French, what are you doing there, bud? Okay, then German. It was almost the official language of the United States for a bit. Oh, that's... Okay, right. Then maybe we could, like, make our own language. After all, Esperanto is pretty successful. It's got almost 3 million speakers. Wait, huh? What? Inflected adjectives? Come on, there's gotta be some normal language out there. Hell, maybe all languages are weird, not just English. I think languages in general are just weird. And you know what? Humans are like the only species on the planet that actually use language like this. Maybe humans are just weird. Huh. Good thing I'm not human, lol.